We got Mr. Eric Vincent of Detroit Sports Nation on with us. What's your thoughts on this season? We know it's been tough, but what you thinking so far? What's your thoughts? How you feeling?
It's hard, man. I cover recap Pistons every game. I've been covering them on Detroit Sports Nation, and it's only so many ways you can write a headline of, hey, they lost again, guys. But, I'm doing my best to put together the best way I can, man. It ain't easy, but,
yeah.
I mean, again, we knew there wasn't going to be contenders out the gate, but nobody expected a 16, 17 game losing streak at this point. They had a lot of injuries out the gate. It kind of hurts with a lot of decision making we've seen, but it's just a lot of mystery. It's a lot of growing pains, and hopefully we turn the corner. We've seen them look a lot more competitive lately in these last few games, but it's tough. Based on expectations of how we thought it was going to be, it's a little tough right now, but I still got hope that they can look like a entertaining team at the very least. This ain't gonna ride all season, I don't believe.
That's what we were saying earlier. You can definitely see a stark contrast in effort between games. Some games they just look so lethargic.
Right.
In other games they look like they're playing in the championship. Just the effort level is totally different.
Exactly.
Between a lot of these games, and so that's why I just hope we can get some level of consistency with our effort. I feel like the second half of the season is gonna be fun. They're gonna be a fun team. Not gonna be a great team or even a good team, but they're gonna be a fun team, and I think that alone will build confidence, at least in the fan base.
You know what? I'm glad you said that, man, because it's another question I've been wanting to ask. I'm glad you're on here, Eric. This fourth quarter situation, our closing lineup, is something that we've been trying to find. So, what would be your best ideal lineup to close out games for the Pistons right now with what they have available? I'll say that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm glad Bojan is out now, because now that gives an option to get some shooting and some spacing, so defenses can't just collapse on Cade and double him to get the ball out of his hand immediately. Even in the last game, they was getting some good looks for Bogey. He just couldn't knock him down. So for me, I'm going, and I like that y'all talked about Killian and his confidence. I would go at this point. I'm going Cade. I like Ivy's ability as a cutter. I would rotate between Asar and Killian, honestly. Like, I feel like just based on who has it and who's making a bigger impact in that game, I would go between those two, and then Bogey and Duren. Like, for me, Cade is a definite, Ivy's a definite, Bogey's a definite, and Duren's a definite. Outside of those four, you can kind of rotate between who else works. And I think Killian and Asar will give you the best feel based on what they're trying to do. Because I kind of like that three-guard lineup that they did last night. I think that kind of worked for them a little bit.
What's your thoughts, Kane?
Dudes, me personally, same, man. Like I said, man, I just want spacing. I just want spacing, and I want guys out there. Of course, we got our veteran with Bojan, right? I just want Cade to be able to try to take that moment, you know what I'm saying, without four guys circling him.
Right.
So when you got the correct guys out there, it makes it easy for him to make those clutch plays. You know what I'm saying? I just want space. That's all I'm asking for.
I think that's fair. I think that's valid too, because whether it's Killian or Asar in that spot, you don't lose defense. I think that's the important thing, especially in closing lineups. That's what you want to have on the floor.
Oh.
And it's not like there's a stark contrast between their shooting ability either, right? Neither of those guys are a great shooter. So it's not like you're really losing anything when it comes to either one of those guys. I think you're right, Eric. It really just comes down to who has it going that night and who's really helping the offense to get moving and who's solid defensively. I think that's what it comes down to as far as who will close the lineup.
That's a good point, too.
Even for being young players, a lot of them take on so many different roles. Like, King, you were just talking about it earlier. Cade is not a player that you just give the ball and say, hey, go orchestrate the offense. No, take him off ball, put him on the block sometimes. Let Ivy cut. Let Asar cut. Let Duren spot up. Even Duren, he's a good passer. You can use him in the spots where he's screening up top and then orchestrating passes up top as well. So they're in a position where they can do more than just, okay, go play ISO ball, which is what we saw with Dwayne Casey for the past few years in fourth quarter spots. So they need to be more creative with it, and they need to use, like, for me, like, I don't love the whole positionless basketball thing. When you got a young team, you kind of need to use them in spots where they make the most sense. So use their skill sets, use their talent, especially in the fourth quarter for a young team trying to learn how to win. They need that more than anything right now.
Mm-hmm.
Man, I can't. Boy, I couldn't agree more. A lot of these terms I always have a problem with. Positionless basketball.
Bruh.
It's this type.
Yeah,
I hate it.
that. You know, Dwayne
Yeah.
Casey can say that stuff all the time, and we know for a fact somebody told him to say that. I mean, we watch right. We watch his assistants teach him, tell him how to coach on the sideline. You know, he always what we got to do next. But seriously though, that's what makes the most sense when you got a young squad, man. You got to put them in spots where they're comfortable and where they're going to be successful. Period, man. So, like I said, you just have to find that lineup at the end of the game and be consistent with it, to where you can make sure you have a lineup out there that's going to get you a good open shot, where you have multiple options. That's what I'm looking for. But at the same time, you made a great point, Deuce. Defensively, you can't have a defensive drop off either, because we've watched these teams have guys like whether it's Brunson or whether it's with the Cavs, what we just saw with them, they put us away. You know what I'm saying? And because we had a defensive drop off, you can't have that.
Yep.
You got to have balance out there on the court. So, like I said, those are two great points, man.
Yeah, man, we saw it the last few games where if you look at the box score at the end of the game, it looked like a blowout. But just 6 minutes before the game ended, it was a close game. So it's just a lack of understanding how to win games that we're missing. And I think a lot of that just comes down to the lineup construction. Who do you have in there, and what are they doing? What is their role? Like Eric, you mentioned, what is their role? Like you said, young players need to have defined roles. They have to. They're still learning how to play game at this level, man. A lot of these guys are almost half our age, depending on who you are. This guy right here. So you know what I mean. So yeah, it's definitely something that needs to be addressed, man. I'm kind of old. I'm kind of a little young. I'm kind of old, man. That was a great point there. It definitely comes down to it's got to be defense. Like King, you mentioned, it's got to be defense. Lineup construction has to be right, man. And these guys need to know what their role is in moments like this. This is the first time on the NBA level in clutch play. You know what I'm saying? In possession basketball. This possession is so crucial. What are we going to do? So it takes time, but you need to put in position to be successful. Otherwise, it's not going to work.
And when you knock me down, I'm getting back up. Cause when I step on the floor, you know your time's up. I'm on my way up and I'm not gonna stop. We headed straight to the top and I know I gotta face it.